Good morning, children. Welcome to the civics class. Last time, before the summer vacation started, you were doing a civics chapter. The name of the chapter is Constitutional Design. You have read about South Africa, the constitution in South Africa. Now, today we are going to start with a new heading in the same chapter, that is making of the Indian Constitution. You know that India is a very vast country, and the making of the constitution must not have been an easy process, isn't it? Because when the population is so large, people have different viewpoints, everybody wants to focus different ideologies. So overcoming different obstacles, overcoming all the problems, the Indian constitution was made. Now, today we are going to start with the very important heading of this chapter, that is making of the Indian Constitution. I will read the paragraphs and I will keep on explaining as and when required. Like South Africa, India's constitution was also drawn up under very difficult circumstances. As I just told you, that since India is a very vast country with such a huge population, so making of the Indian constitution was obviously not an easy task. It was a challenge. The making of the constitution for a huge and diverse country like India was not an easy affair. I just told you this. At that time, the people of India were emerging from the status of subjects to that of citizens. This line means that the people of India had just come out from the bondage of slavery. They had been ruled by the Britishers, and they had seen a very dark phase, a dark side in their lives. Now, after India became independent, the people of India who were earlier just treated as subjects means just the people living there, who had no authority, who had no rights, whether it was political rights, social rights, or economic rights. After India got independence, the people of India who were till now treated as subjects were now treated as citizens. That means they were given all those rights which a citizen of a democratic country like India must have. The country was born through a partition on the basis of religious differences. This was a traumatic experience for the people of India and Pakistan. That means the partition time, the phase of partition, was a phase of trauma, mental torture, physical torture. People from one part of the country were forced to move to the other part. That is, a new nation was created named Pakistan. The people had to leave their loved ones, their near and dear ones, and move to Pakistan, or the people living there had to come to India. And it was a very bitter experience of their life. At least 10 lakh people were killed on both sides of the border in partition related violence. There was another problem. The British had left it to the rulers of the princely states to decide whether they wanted to merge with India or with Pakistan or remain independent. The merger of these princely states was a difficult and uncertain task. When the constitution was being written, the future of the country did not look as secure as it does today. The makers of the constitution had anxieties about the present and the future of the country, because till now the people of the country, the people of India, had suffered so much under the British rule that when India got independence, the makers of the constitution, the makers of this constitution were not very sure what are the expectations of the people in the present, what they want the makers of the constitution to do for the future of the country. There were many problems, there were many anxieties in their minds. The path to the constitution. Despite all these difficulties, there was one big advantage for the makers of the Indian Constitution. So, despite facing all this state of confusion, lots of anxieties, lots of questions which arose in the minds of those who were involved in making of the Constitution, despite all these difficulties, there was one advantage as well. Let us see what is the advantage. Unlike South Africa, they did not have to create a consensus about what a democratic India should look like. Consensus means agreement over any important issue. The people of India, after being free from the British rule, they were all having one viewpoint. Their opinions, their ideologies were very much similar to one another. There was hardly any difference of opinion. There was hardly any dispute over any issue. So there was a consensus. That means everybody agreed in the same way over important matters like making of the constitution. Unlike South Africa, they did not have to create a consensus about what a democratic India should look like. Everybody had the same viewpoint about what their new country, what their free democratic country should be like. Much of this consensus had evolved during the freedom struggle. As you will study next year, when you will study the freedom movement, you will study that when the national movement started, when the Great Revolt of 1857 started and it took the shape of a national movement in the country, the War of Independence, when it took the shape of War of Independence in the country, everybody, whether it was young or old, rich or poor, everybody in the country had one same ideology in mind, one same aim in mind, that was to free themselves from the British rule and become a free country. So this consensus was already there. This same opinion, their same viewpoint was already there during the freedom struggle. Our national movement was not merely a struggle against a foreign rule. It was also a struggle to rejuvenate our country and to transform our society and politics. Very important. It is written that our national movement, the freedom struggle against the foreign rule, was not only a mere struggle against the foreign rule, but it was a struggle to rejuvenate our country and to transform the society and politics. That rejuvenate the country means infuse new spirit, new life within the countrymen so that they can make a new society, they can make a strong democratic country, they can be participants in the politics of the country, they can be participants in choosing the representatives who are going to rule the country. There were sharp differences of opinion within the freedom struggle about the path India should take after independence. Such differences exist even today. Why were there differences? Just a simple reason, because when the country has such a vast population, we cannot expect everybody to think on similar lines. Some may think differently, some may have the same opinion. So there were differences by and large due to the vastness of the population. Yet, some basic ideas had come to be accepted by almost everyone. In spite of all these differences, despite all these differences, some basic ideas were common by and large. And one basic idea that was common was to make a strong democratic country, to transform India into a strong country, to transform the society, rejuvenate the society, be participants in the politics of the country, and also put forth their ideas for making of the constitution. As far back as in 1928, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders drafted a constitution for India. In 1931, a resolution at the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress dwelt on how independent India's constitution should look like. Both these documents were committed to the inclusion of universal adult franchise. What is universal adult franchise? Maybe some of you know. Universal adult franchise means giving the right to vote to every citizen of the country who is 18 years of age or above. Every citizen who attains 18 years of age or is above 18 years has the right to vote. Both these documents were committed to the inclusion of universal adult franchise, right to freedom and equality. Right to freedom. Everybody is free and everybody is equal. This concept was focused in independent India. Both these documents were committed to the inclusion of universal adult franchise, right to freedom and equality, and to protecting the rights of minorities in the Constitution of Independent India. Again, a very important aspect was highlighted, that is to bring the minorities to the forefront. Till now, the minorities were neglected. They were deprived of all the privileges which the majority population was getting. But now the minorities were brought to the forefront, and it was said, it was highlighted that the rights of the minorities should also be protected. They should be given proper representation in the country. Thus, some basic values were accepted by all leaders much before the Constituent Assembly met to deliberate on the Constitution. That means before the before the Constituent Assembly met to draft the Constitution, to discuss matters on the Constitution and make the Constitution finally, by and large, the people agreed on various aspects. What were the aspects? Universal adult franchise, right to freedom and equality, and to protect the rights of minorities. The familiarity with political institutions of colonial rule also helped develop an agreement over the institutional design. The British rule had given voting rights only to a few. If you remember, the British rule had given the voting rights only to some privileged section of the society, the rich sections of the society, especially only to men. Women were earlier not given the voting rights. On that basis, the British had introduced weak legislatures. Elections were held in 1937 to provincial legislatures and ministries all over British India. These were not fully democratic governments, but the experience gained by Indians in the working of the legislative institutions proved to be very useful for the country in setting up its own institutions and working in them. That is why the Indian Constitution adopted many institutional details and procedures from colonial laws like the Government of India Act 1935. Now the paragraph which I will read is very important. Years of thinking and deliberation on the framework of the Constitution had another benefit. Years of thinking and deliberation. Deliberation means discussions. Various meetings and discussions were held when the Constitution, before the Constitution was made. Years of thinking and deliberation on the framework of the Constitution had another benefit. Our leaders gained confidence to learn from other countries. They studied the constitutions of other countries and they gained confidence after the deep study, deep analysis of the constitution of other countries. Many of our leaders were inspired by the ideals of French Revolution. One very important effect of the French Revolution was that a written constitution was provided. That means many countries adopted the policy of having their own written constitution, and India was one of them. Many of our leaders were inspired by the ideals of the French Revolution, the practice of parliamentary democracy in Britain, and the Bill of Rights in the US. The socialist revolution in Russia had inspired many Indians to think of shaping a system based on social and economic equality. So, when the constitution of different countries was studied and analyzed, the leaders of our country, those people who were involved in making the constitution, they came to the conclusion that the constitution or the system of the country should be based on social and economic equality. Social equality means there should be no discrimination of high or low. Everybody in the society should be treated as equals. Economic equality, that means distribution of wealth in the country should be done equally. It should not be that the rich is becoming richer and richer and the poor is becoming poorer and poorer. Wealth should be equally distributed, and the society should be divided in such a way, should be organized in such a way that there is no discrimination among people. Everybody in the country should be treated as equals. Yet, they were not simply imitating what others had done. Very important line. Although the constitution makers were studying the constitution of other countries, but why they were studying? They were studying to get knowledge. They were studying to get ideas, what good points they can imbibe in our constitution. But they just read it for their experience sake, for their confidence sake, for getting ideas, but they did not imbibe each and everything from other countries, from their constitutions. Why they did not imbibe? Because the reason is simple. Every country has their own demands. Every country has its own requirement. The people of the country have their own requirement, have their own needs, and they have their own expectations. So every country has a different type of constitution. India also did not copy the constitutions of other countries. Yet they were not simply imitating what others had done. At each step, they were questioning whether these things suited our country. Just now I told you the same thing, that every country has its own requirements, its own needs. The people have their own expectations from the government. So it was seen that whatever they are doing, whatever they are imbibing in the constitution, it should suit the need of the country. At each step, they were questioning whether these things suited our country. All these factors contributed to the making of our constitution. So, after deep study, after continuous deliberations for several days together, after studying the constitutions of other countries, finally the makers of the constitution started the process of drafting the constitution. Next heading, the Constituent Assembly, another important heading. Who then were the makers of the Indian Constitution? Again and again, you must have seen that I am also speaking makers of the Constitution, makers of the Constitution. So, what do we mean by this? Who were the makers of the Constitution? Let us see. You will find here very brief sketch of some of the leaders who played an important role in the making of the Constitution. The drafting of the document. Please pay attention. Every line in the upcoming paragraph is very, very important. The drafting of the document called the Constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives called the Constituent Assembly. it is but natural that when the constitution when the work of writing of the constitution, framing the constitution started, then there should be some selected members, there should be a committee, isn't it? Every citizen of the country cannot participate in drafting the constitution, in writing the constitution. It is impossible. So who will write the constitution? Who will formulate the constitution? There has to be some group of people, some members, isn't it? So the drafting of the document, that means planning and writing and formulating what should be included, what should not be included, all this was done by an assembly of elected representatives called the Constituent Assembly. That means the drafting of the constitution was done by the Constituent Assembly, which comprised of some elected representatives. Elections to the Constituent Assembly were held in July 1946. Elections to the Constituent Assembly, that means who will become the member of this Constituent Assembly, who are those people. Elections were held to decide this. When were the elections held? July 1946. Its first meeting was held in December 1946. Please remember, you have to learn this particular line here. Its first meeting, that means the first meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held in December 1946. Soon after, the country was divided into India and Pakistan. The Constituent Assembly was also divided into the Constituent Assembly of India and that of Pakistan. The Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. Very, very important information, and you have to learn this. Such kind of sentences can always come in the exam. In between the lesson, you can see such important sentences are there. Please don't ignore them. You have to learn them. Okay. So this important line is that I am reading again. The Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. 299 members played an important role in drafting the Constitution, in making the Constitution. The Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26th November 1949. Very, very important, children. The next line which I will read is also very important. Please learn them by heart. I am reading again. The Assembly, the Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26th November 1949. But it came into effect, that means it came into practice, it was followed from which date? 26th January 1950. The Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26th November 1949, and the Constitution was brought into effect, brought into force on 26th January 1950. If you remember, you must remember that this date is